Okay, so yeah, I have never played Pokemon Scarlet or Violet. Well, that's kind of a lie. I got the game at launch and played about 2 hours, but never touched it again. I honestly don't even think I caught a full team. You might be asking, why, Tyler? The Pokemon games are all great and fun to play, which you're right, but it looks like shit. Despite the games not looking the best, I decided to revisit them about a year later, but this time I gave myself a challenge. I decided that I could only use shiny Pokemon on my playthrough. I figured that this would be a fun thing to do, and a new way to experience a Pokemon game. I think it was safe to say that I thought I would have to put a lot less time into this than I did. Will I be able to beat all the Titans? Can I put an end to Team Star's madness? And will I be able to become the champion of the Paldea region? Watch till the end to find out. This journey started with me creating my character and then choosing my starter Pokemon. Not a single thought behind those eyes. There was one problem though. The starters were shiny locked. So, I need to use this Fuecoco to get a shiny Pokemon to be my new starter. I started my first shiny hunt by running all around Poco Path, and if I didn't see a shiny, I would run back to the nearby town. Doing this reset the Pokemon spawns and gave me new chances at finding a shiny Pokemon every time I did it. I did this for about 2.5 hours with no luck, and I got tired of walking around so slowly, so I went to investigate a mysterious cry that we had heard earlier. I saw this purple robot thing lying on the beach and somehow managed to survive a massive fall, which brought me right down to it. I fed it a sandwich for some reason, and it guided me back up to the top. This is when I met Arvin, one of the main characters in this game. He gave me the Pokeball for this robot, which we now learned was called Miraidon. Then I had to go to the school and go through the really long intro of this game. I unlocked the 3 main storylines that this game has to offer and was now able to ride on the back of Miraidon. This also unlocked Pokemon outbreaks, which basically spawn a bunch of Pokemon in one small area. First, I went to investigate a Tarantula outbreak, but after like 30 minutes, I didn't find one and I figured that I wanted to get a different Pokemon as my starter. I guess I should also explain how the outbreaks work. Basically, you can look on your map and see a bunch of big Pokemon scattered around. These areas have outbreaks of that Pokemon. A bunch of these Pokemon will spawn in this area, and if you kill 30 of them, your chances of finding a shiny go from 1 in 4,096 to 1 in 2,048. Then, if you kill 60 of them, your chances go to 1 in 1,365, which are significantly better odds. I got back on the game the next day to find a Lechonk outbreak right next to me. I walked around here for a bit and used picnics to quickly reset the spawns of nearby Pokemon. I guess luck was on my side this time because after only 5 minutes, this happened. Oh! I got it! I got it! Look at him! That was like, I didn't even finish killing the 60. That was like instant. I caught her and named her Hank because I felt like this was the only fitting name for this Pokemon. I ran around for a bit, leveling Hank up, and eventually decided to go for another nearby outbreak, which was for Fletchling. After about 14 minutes of searching, I found it. Oh! There it is! What is happening? That was like 5 minutes. What would I name a Fletchling? I got it. Bobby. Welcome to the party, Bobby. With my new team member, I ran around fighting every trainer I saw and fighting as many wild Pokemon as I could to level up. Once I felt like they were ready, I went to take on the first gym, which was a bug-type gym. For the gym challenge, I had to roll this olive around and get it into a basket. This was pretty easy, and I was on to fight the gym leader. With Bobby, this gym should be no problem, right? Right? I did a bit more leveling before going right back to fight it again. This time I had no problem defeating her and got my first badge. I ran around a bit more, leveling up my Pokemon, and even got Bobby to evolve. Bobby's evolving! What is that thing? That'd all be so nice, but what is that? It looks big. Is that the Titan? I went to see what the big Pokemon that I was seeing in the background was and realized that I had accidentally stumbled across my first Titan. I decided to take it on and see if I was capable of defeating it. Bobby slowly chipped away at his health before it ran away. I chased right after it, and it broke a hole in the side of this mountain and ate this mysterious plant. Then Arvin came to help out, and we were able to take it down. This also made Hank evolve. Hank! What's he gonna look like? What? We went into the cave that it made and found some leftovers of the plant that the crab was eating. Arvin made a sandwich with it, and I gave my half to Miraidon, which gave it the power to dash, which allowed me to get around faster. After this, I immediately went to challenge the next gym. This one had me run around looking for some sunflowers that were hiding around the town. I eventually found them all and was allowed to battle the gym leader. I was doing fine in this battle until he sent out Sudowoodo, which destroyed my team. However, I went right back in and was able to defeat him. I then ran around to level up my team some more. While doing this, I came across my first Team Star base where I got a phone call and met a man named Clive who said that he would help me take down Team Star. Then I ran around shiny hunting Toad School for about 3 hours with no luck. The next day, I went to find a shiny Toxel at an outbreak that appeared. This took me about 2 hours and I wasn't recording when I found it, but anyway, here's Martha. With this new team member, I went to fight the next Titan, which was this giant bird. This was a very easy battle, and the same thing as last time happened. Miraidon came out to eat my sandwich, and Arvin was not happy about this because he was using these sandwiches to heal his dog, which was not in good health. This sandwich gave Miraidon the ability to go across water. Then I went to a Choodle outbreak and searched for about 2 hours, but I guess this area was glitched or something because part of it was water, so not many Choodles were spawning. So I left to try to find a shiny Weasel. You see, shiny hunting is not that great for me because I'm not very patient when it comes to this stuff. I searched for about 3 hours and then got bored, so I went to hunt a Magikarp. I searched here for about an hour and found nothing, so I gave up and went to hunt a shiny Marill. I hunted here for 12 whole hours, but the outbreaks reset because I hit midnight, so I gave up and went to bed. The next day, I once again tried for a shiny Weasel, but didn't find one. This is when I decided to fight the next gym, which was Iono, the electric gym leader. When I got there, Nemona was waiting and challenged me to a battle. Her Rockruff, Palmy, and Florigato got destroyed, and I went to take on the gym challenge. This time, I had to participate in one of her streams, because on top of being a gym leader, she was also a streamer. For this challenge, I had to find the director of the school who hid all around the city. I found him 3 times and was sent to fight the gym. This battle was pretty easy, and I was able to take out all of her Pokemon. Then I was met by Geeta, who was the chairwoman of the Pokemon League. She basically told me to keep going and getting stronger. So, in order to do that, I went straight to the next gym. This one was the water gym, but when I got there, the gym leader went running out and his assistant gave me his wallet to return to him, and I quickly made my way over to where he went. When I got there, this person didn't believe that what I had to say was important and made me battle him. I won pretty easily, which led to this. Bobby! Look at him! Oh, he looks so good. I returned the wallet to Kofu and he told me to go and win an auction. He gave me $50,000 and I was off. Damn! Bro's got money. I won with a bid of $35,000 and went back to Kofu. He thanked me and we went back to the gym. Here I met Hassel and Rika. They warned me about the difficulty at the next few gyms, and then I battled Kofu. I led with Martha, who had evolved at some point, I don't know when, and he led with Veluza. I one-shot this fish with Spark, and he sent out Wugtrio, which I also one-shot. Then Crabominable was sent out, and we both terrestrialized our Pokemon. I switched to Hank after being badly hit, and then back to Martha after seeing that Hank did close to no damage. I was luckily able to outspeed it and won. With this, I had my 3rd gym badge and 6th total badge of the 18 in this game, which included all of the gyms, Team Star leaders, and Titans. And speaking of Titans, I went to fight Earthworm, who was the next one. It was a steel type, so Bobby had no problem beating it. I ran through a cave to another area and chased it down. This is where it ate a plant like the other two did, and Arvin showed up to help. We took it down almost instantly and went into the cave that it made. I fed Miraidon again, and he fed his dog. The sandwiches seemed to be working because now the dog could bark. Miraidon also gained some power and was now able to jump higher. Then I wanted to find a shiny Tink because it was a new cool looking Pokemon that I wanted. They normally spawned around ruins, so that's where I decided to go. Wait, huh? I just got up here. I wasn't even looking for you. So, yeah, I accidentally found a shiny Mareep and named it Mary. After finding this completely random shiny, I felt great. But, you know what else would make me feel great? If you liked and subscribed. Then I started my hunt for a Tink, but didn't find anything. However, I did see a Maschiff outbreak, so I went to hunt for one of those. Now, it was late, so I decided to take my Switch in handheld mode and lay in bed running around thinking that I wouldn't find anything. I could not have been more wrong. Do you see what I see? I'm gonna delete the game. I'm going to... 12 hours. 12. Just for it to pop up when I'm not even looking for it. What is this game? That was cool, but what was even cooler was what happened when I turned around. I kid you not, this is 30 seconds after I added that Azurill to my party. I turned around and there's the other shiny. All of my luck returned when I decided I'm not going to record, I'm just going to run around and maybe I'll run into something. What happened? After getting those two and naming them Linda and Roxanne, I decided that I should get my shiny starter because it felt wrong going through the game without my starter Pokemon. I used the Masuda method with a foreign Ditto that I have transferred through like all of my Pokemon games through Pokemon Home. I used picnics to get eggs and ran around in circles to hatch them. Using Bobby's Flame Body, these eggs hatched very quickly, and with the 1 in 682 odds that the Masuda method gave me, I felt like this shouldn't take too long to get. I was incredibly wrong about this. 1,112 eggs later, and after 25 hours of running in circles, this happened. I then ran around leveling up these 3 new members of the team because I went straight to hatching eggs after catching the first 2. After a lot of battles, Coco evolved. God, that is ugly. Then I finally remembered to give him a name. Dave. With my team now made and somewhat well-rounded, I went to take on the next Titan, which was this giant metal elephant. It was a bit stronger than me, which made this battle a struggle, but I was somehow able to beat the first stage. Then Arvin arrived and we were able to take it down. I fed Miraidon again and he fed the dog, but it didn't have any immediate effect for him. But for Miraidon, it was the opposite. I was now able to glide. With my 4th Titan badge done, I decided to go and finally take on my first Team Starbase. I had to battle the grunt at the front gate, and I beat him and Clive arrived with Charlos. I then buzzed the gate and we were in. Here I had to defeat 30 Pokemon in 10 minutes using the new auto battle feature that this game has. I got this done pretty quickly and was met by a massive car which the leader was standing on. I quickly took out her Pokemon and then battled the car itself. I beat it and then was given some backstory on Team Star. Then I received the badge for this member. Then Penny arrived and she gave me some supplies for beating them. She apparently worked for the supply unit, but I wasn't buying it. You're suspicious. I immediately went out to the next one and did the same thing. I beat the grunts at the gate and went in and killed 30 of their Pokemon. Then this guy came out with his car and I was able to beat them as well using only Bobby. The backstory I got this time was about the code that Team Star strictly follows even though their boss wasn't around anymore. I got this badge and then Penny came by again. Then I ran around some more, leveling up and unlocking new Pokemon centers to travel to. Linda evolved because I finally got her friendship to be high enough, and shortly after I got her to her final evolution. Then I ran around leveling up some more and got everybody to their final evolutions. With this, I went to the next gym, and I had to find out the way to cook their secret item on their menu. To do this, I would basically have to run around the town and talk to people to get clues on how to make it. I didn't do this, and I did the most reliable method of figuring anything out: guessing and checking. After a few minutes, I luckily got it and met Larry. I was able to pretty easily sweep through this team, and I got another badge. Then Nimona asked to battle me, and the chairwoman wanted to watch, so we went outside and fought on the sidewalk. I was able to use only Dave to fight her whole team and won. Then I went straight to the next Team Star base. I had to battle this kid who was at the gate first. I destroyed his whole team and was allowed in to fight their Pokemon. This leader was a poison type trainer, and I was able to beat his whole team with only a bit of difficulty. Then I got some more backstory about how they got their costumes. Then I went straight to the next gym, which was up in the mountains. For the gym challenge, I met this man who looked a lot like Moist Critical and had to help him hype up the crowd for the next show. I did this by fighting people on stage in double battles. I beat them all with little to no problems, and then Rhyme came out to beat this kid in a rap battle. Then I went up there to fight her. She led with Mimikyu and Banette, which I was able to take out very easily. Then she sent out Toxtricity and Houndstone, which once again got destroyed. Then guess where I went? Straight to the next gym. This one was a psychic gym that I had to play Simon Says with the Metacham to get into. I made it to the battle, and she led with this giraffe, which I beat in 2 hits. Then she sent out Gardevoir, which one-shot Roxanne. I sent in Dave and beat it in 2 shots. Then she sent out this ostrich thing, and I sent out Bobby, who was able to beat it. She then terrestrialized her final Pokemon. This one defeated a few of my Pokemon, but Linda was able to come through and finish it off. Then I met Rika again, who brought Poppy with her, who was somehow in the Elite Four at the age of like 5. Then I went back to the mountains to challenge the Ice Gym. I had to do some skiing on Miraidon, which allowed me to battle the leader. They led with Frostmoth, who got one shot by Dave. Then they sent out Beartick, who almost took Dave out, but ended up getting one shot. Then this big guy came out and killed Dave and Bobby. I sent in Linda, who came through and beat it. The final Pokemon was Altaria. I sent out Mary, who was able to beat it, and this was my final gym done. Then Nimona and Gita told me to challenge the Elite Four and become champion. But before I could do that, I wanted to finish fighting all the Team Star members. I went to the next base where I had to fight Harrington, who was a very easy battle. Then I beat the 30 Pokemon and met Ortega. Ortega wiped my team, but I had an idea. One minor swap. Put Martha first. Then we win. Surprisingly, that worked, and I was able to beat him. Then I got the badge, and Penny came by again. The difficulty of that battle was a wake-up call, so I went around leveling up my team for the next couple of hours. I eventually found a way to have multiple Chanseys and Blissies spawn, which gave a bunch of XP. I farmed these guys for quite some time and got my whole team to be around level 75. With this, I went to battle the final Titan. I ran around this small island looking at all of these fish until eventually I found one that was just a bit bigger than the others. I walked up to it and the Titan appeared. I beat it pretty easily and had to follow it to another island where me and Arvin battled it. After we beat it, we had to fight the fish that somehow survived being eaten alive. Then we walked through a wall and made it to the cave. Once again, I fed Miraidon and he fed his dog. This time, the dog was brought back to perfect health and Miraidon was given the ability to climb walls. After that, I went to go and fight the final Team Star member. I quickly beat the guard and swept through the 30 Pokemon. This fight was also pretty easy. It was a bunch of fighting types that I was able to one-shot. With that, I was done with the Team Star bases and was told to meet the leader at night at the school. Before doing that, I met Arvin at the lighthouse where Professor Turo, who was also Arvin's dad, showed up on the TV. He told us to come down to the crater in the middle of the map to help him with something. When we got outside, Arvin asked me to battle him. I lost Dave and Bobby, but was able to beat him. Then I went to the school. The director challenged me to a battle, claiming that he was the leader of Team Star, but I didn't believe him. This battle was surprisingly easy, and when I won, he said that he lied about being the Team Star leader, and that I needed to fight the real leader, so I went up to the schoolyard to fight them. I knew it. I knew it. Take the hood off, you are not slick. Penny's team consisted of only different evolutions, and I was able to counter pretty much every single one of them. She then revealed that she tried to break up Team Star, but they didn't listen. Then the director revealed that all of the Team Star leaders were here hiding and came by to see their leader. They were given community service as their punishment for their crimes, which was to run their bases as training grounds for students, which to me doesn't really seem like much of a punishment. But with that, the Team Star storyline was complete. With 2 of the 3 storylines done, there was only one thing left to do: fight the Elite Four. I met Geeta at the front door and she welcomed me into the challenge. I spoke to the man at the door who said that I had an interview to attend first. I get interviewed? Back in my day, I just walk in and fight people. I answered a few questions correctly and was allowed into the battling stage. The first battle was against none other than Rika herself. She led with Wishcash and I started with Dave. I threw a Shadow Ball, which almost killed it, and it used Muddy Water, which was super effective but didn't do much damage. I finished the Wishcash off with another Shadow Ball and kept Dave in to fight Donphan. I used the Shadow Ball again, which would have one hit if Donphan didn't have Sturdy. She used Earthquake, which did a bit of damage to Dave, but I was able to defeat it with another Shadow Ball. Then Dugtrio was sent out and used Sandstorm, but I was able to one-shot it with another Shadow Ball. Then Rika sent out Camerupt, who I hit once, but it managed to kill Dave. I sent in Linda, who was able to take it out with the Bubble Beam. For her final Pokemon, Rika sent out Clodsire. I terastallized Linda and she terastallized as well. I used Bubble Beam, not knowing that Clodsire would just absorb it, but I wasn't paying attention, so I tried to do it again, assuming that I missed. However, this one hit the Protect that it used, so I did it again and finally realized that I was just wasting time. I used Bounce, which didn't do a whole lot of damage, so I swapped out Linda for Roxanne and used Payback to finish the Clodsire off. Then Poppy was sent out to battle. I healed up all of my Pokemon and went to battle it. She started with Capparaja and I used Shadow Ball, which did a lot of damage. Then it used Stealth Rock, which would be very annoying for the rest of my team when they came in. I finished it off with another Shadow Ball and Bronzong was sent in. I used Shadow Ball once again and one-shot it. Then Corviknight was sent out, which I used Torch Song and was able to one-shot that as well. Then Magnezone came out, which I was able to two-shot. Then for her final Pokemon, Poppy sent out Tinkaton. I used Torch Song, but before I could use it, she terastallized the Tinkaton and used Stone Edge, which hurt Dave just a bit. It didn't really matter though, because it got one shot. Then the next Elite Four member was sent out. Larry? Wait. Larry? Larry! Long time no see! How have you been? I was able to easily one-shot his first Pokemon, and he sent out Staraptor, who got one-shot as well. Then Altaria came out and used Dragon Pulse. I used Bite, which didn't do a whole lot. Then I used Incinerate twice and killed it. Then Oricorio was sent out, and got one-shot. For his final Pokemon, Larry terastallized a Flamigo. It was able to kill Dave, and I sent in Martha to get revenge. With that, I had beat Larry and had only one more Elite Four member to battle. Hassel. He started with Noivern, which I two-shot with Incinerate. Then he sent out this thing, which almost took out Dave, but he was able to do a bunch of damage before the next attack hit. Then Dave toughed out the next attack, and was able to defeat it. He then sent out Haxorus, which killed Dave right away. I sent in Linda, hoping that she could do a bit of damage. I used Hydro Pump, which did a bit, but then I used Water Gun, which did close to nothing, so on my next turn, I just used Hydro Pump to finish it off. Then Flapple came out, and I sent in Bobby. I used Flare Blitz and got the Flapple down to one shot. I then used Flame Charge and was now on his final Pokemon. He terastallized and used Glaive Rush, which almost killed Bobby. This move may have not killed him, but the Leech Seed that the Flapple set out did. I sent in Martha and used Overdrive, which did a lot of damage, so after surviving another Glaive Rush, I did it again and beat Hassel. Then the four of them congratulated me and wished me luck on fighting the champion. When I reached the top of the building, Geeta was waiting for me. She led the fight with this ostrich thing and I was able to beat it in one shot with a Shadow Ball. Then Avalugg was sent out, but one Torch Song was all that was needed to beat it. Then King Gambit was sent out and I one-shot that too. Then she sent out Veluza, but I sent out Martha to counter it. The Veluza got one shot as well, and she sent out Go-Goat, who I sent Dave in to kill. Dave almost one-shot the Go-Goat, so I used Incinerate to finish it off on my next turn. Our final Pokemon was a Glamora, which I honestly don't even know how to describe what this thing looks like. She terastallized it, and it killed Dave with the Terra Blast. I sent in Martha, who was able to do a bit of damage before being one-shot. Linda was sent in, and I used Hydro Pump after being hit to half health. This was able to beat it, and I had officially beaten the Elite Four and Champion. Nemona met me outside and asked me to have one final battle now that we had both achieved Champion status. We met in the middle of the main city where people gathered around to watch. She led with Lycanroc, and I used Shadow Ball, which did a good amount of damage before she used Stone Edge, which took a decent chunk of Dave's health. Another Shadow Ball was able to finish it off, and she sent in Earthworm, which I was able to one-shot with the Torch Song. Then she sent in Goodra, which I sent in Martha to try to take out, but this wasn't the best idea because the electric moves did like no damage. However, Poison Jab did a bit, and I was able to take it out with 2 hits. Then the Dunsparce was sent in, and I took it out with 2 Poison Jabs. Palmot came out next, and Martha somehow managed to take a second hit at 1 HP, and I got 1 attack in before Martha was done. I sent in Bobby because his flying type moves were super effective. Sure enough, 1 Aerial Ace was all that I needed to take it out. Her final Pokemon was Meowscarada, which was her starter, so I sent in Dave because it felt right to have the starters battle each other. We both terastallized, and I was able to one-shot it with the Torch Song. She congratulated me on my victory, and I was sent back to my dorm room. Here, Arvin called me and reminded me about going to the crater. He said that he got 2 allies to help us out and that I should meet him at the top of the crater. I immediately went out and scaled the whole mountain to get there. We went into this futuristic looking room where Nemona and Penny were waiting. The professor talked to us over a loudspeaker, I guess, and told us where to go. I went down to where he said to go and got a cutscene. After that, we were in the crater. However, Miraidon decided to stay in his ball and I couldn't ride it, so we had to explore this whole area on foot. Professor Toro told us to locate 4 research labs so that we could unlock the door of the building that he was locked in. We walked around until we eventually came across the first research station, where a Glamora fought us before we could go in. Nemona one-shot it, and we went into the building. The professor told us that these labs were made 87 years ago to research the area. I disabled the first lock, and we were on the way to the next one. When we got there, we were met with a Delibird, but this one was different. It was a robot. We managed to defeat it, and we went into the lab, where Toro explained to us that some of the Pokemon here were Pokemon from the future that came through a time machine that was used to research these Pokemon. But he said that the cost of getting this thing running was catastrophic. I unlocked the next panel, and we went to the next lab, where we were met by an Iron Treads, which was a smaller version of that Titan that we fought. We beat it, and then went into the lab. Here, we learned that Miraidon was a future version of a Pokemon from our time. I disabled the lock, and we went deeper into Area 0. We eventually reached the final lab where Professor Toro was glitching out. After disabling that lock, we made it down to the building where Professor Toro was. He said that when we opened up the gate, some powerful Pokemon would come out. We brought out Miraidon and opened the gate. This is when we were shown that another Miraidon was watching us. It came down and almost got into a fight with my Miraidon, but went into the building. Then the powerful Pokemon we were warned about came out. We fought a few of them one by one until I was told to go inside of the building. Here, the professor seemed to be sleeping. Which, he was, but he was a robot. He used a Master Ball to get the other Miraidon to stop and explained what had happened with the time machine and why he was a robot instead of himself. The real Professor Toro died trying to stop the 2 Miraidon from fighting, and all of his memories and emotions were put into this robot. However, the robot wanted to stop the time machine that was bringing these Pokemon over. We rode the elevator down to the bottom, where we walked into this crystal room. I put the Violet book into the slot of the machine, and it activated. It was in the robot's code to stop anyone from trying to shut down the machine, so I had to battle him to put an end to it. He led this battle with Iron Moth, which I took out with just a few hits. But not without Dave almost dying. Then he sent out Iron Thorns, which killed Dave before he could do anything. I sent in Mary to see if she could do anything, but she was killed only after having done a little bit of damage. Then Bobby came out. Aerial Ace did close to nothing to it, and Bobby got one shot. Then so did Martha, and Linda was finally able to take it out. But now I only had 2 Pokemon, which would have to battle his 4. Linda used Hydro Pump, but flinched and did nothing. On the next turn, she got the Hydro Pump off and was able to kill it after one more attack. The next Pokemon was Iron Bundle. Linda used Bounce, which didn't do much, so I decided that it was time to revive Dave. However, I accidentally used it on a Pokemon that was alive and wasted the turn. Roxanne then came out, but she was used to just stall so that I could bring back the others and heal them all. Roxanne was able to kill the bird, but this robot dragon was sent out. Dave was able to kill it with a whopping 13 health left. Then Iron Valiant was sent in and killed Dave. Roxanne was then sent in and was used to revive Dave immediately after. Roxanne died to one brick break and I sent in Martha. I fully healed Dave and Martha died before being able to get an attack off. Dave was back in once more and I terastallized and used Torch Song, which killed this final Pokemon. Everyone else joined us in this room, but that wasn't it. The professor was ready for this and the machine started up again. This time he sent out Miraidon. However, all the Pokeballs that weren't registered to the professor were now locked, so I only had one option. I sent in Miraidon because technically his ball was registered to the professor because it was his before mine. Miraidon was scared to fight because it had lost its battle once before, but it activated its battle mode and was ready to go. I used Electro Drift, which did almost nothing to it. Then it used Power Gem, which hurt me a bit, and I did the same thing, but did just a little bit of damage. I used Power Gem again, and then on the next turn, I used Endure. He used Hyper Beam, which would have killed me if I didn't use Endure. I used a Max Potion on Miraidon and was given the option to Terastallize it. I Terastallized it into a Dragon type and used Terra Blast, which was able to kill the other Miraidon. After this defeat, Robot Toro decided that the only option to fully stop this was to go to the future himself. So he left, and I had put an end to the time machine. With that done, we walked out of there and decided to walk home together after that stressful adventure. Then the credits started rolling with an Ed Sheeran song, which completely caught me off guard and would probably get me copyrighted if I played it. But yeah, that's how I beat Pokémon Violet with only shiny Pokémon. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. It would mean the world to me and help out the channel a lot.